Hello YouTube, it's Birdo Prey 5 again. Can you hear me? Let's wait for confirmation that you can hear me. Yes, Darth, you were first. Hello, Thomas Potts. Josh says, first DJ Odyssey, now Birdo Prey 5. What is it next? Thomas and Darth doing a live stream? If they do it, I'd watch. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, so the audio is good. Well, you better move. The horses are coming after you. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of that scene from Back to the Future where Marty goes Back to the Future 3, I guess, where he goes to the past and there's all the horses on the movie screen or something, and he shows up and of course there's a bunch of Native American Indians being chased by the cavalry, and of course they all just ignore the DeLorean, but he gets an arrow through the gas line, no big deal, right? Yeah. But this is actually one of my favorite paintings. It is actually called the Rebel. That would help if I had the browser open. Why is the browser not working today? Huh. Okay, give me a quick second. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. We'll come back to that later. It's not a big deal. But it's called The Rebel Herd by Mario Bordi. And it's a picture that for the longest time hung in my Adirondacks house, my family's Adirondacks house. And I had absolutely no idea what the name was, if anybody else had it, if it was at all famous. Could barely read. I mean, I couldn't even read the signature. In fact, the framed version we had at the house, most of the signature was cut off for the frame. So what I actually did was take a photograph of it and I posted it on my web forum because surprisingly they're usually pretty good about identifying weird things, tools, or pictures of things that I don't know what they are, and usually somebody comes back in a day or even sooner and says, oh, that's a self-stealing stem bolt or something. Obviously not that, because those aren't real, but they shock me nevertheless. My forum couldn't get it, so instead I put it up on Imager. I'll be honest, within 15 minutes, 2 people answered The Rebel Herd by Mario Bordi. It was enough for me to Google and find out that yes, this, I'm not going to say it's famous painting, but it's famous enough that you can Google it. It has web pages about it. You can buy it on eBay when it comes around every so often. So yeah, so I was kind of surprised. It was it just, more of a family history thing than anything. I mean, it's no Mona Lisa, don't get me wrong, but my grandfather was always into horses. I guess it caught his eye, He always hoped that they'd get horses for the property one day. Unfortunately, he passed away before that ever got realized, and it just seems unlikely today. But maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, we won't let the chat get too out of hand today. Thomas Bott says yes, part 3. He almost forgot Anti-Tracker was going to stream later today. Well, you see? There. Now I reminded you. A good scene. The Indians on the drive in the theater, and he runs into Indians. When are they going live? Darth, I don't know what time they're going live. I don't think he had an exact time. They were going to the movie. I think he said like 12 or 1 o'clock his time. You figure they should be home any time now. They might be home by now. I don't know if they're going to eat first or whatever. I honestly would guess they were going to go live maybe around 5 p.m., 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. But I mean, I'm so off and wrong on my guesses on when he goes live. I know Mrs. Anti-Tracker just doesn't stay up late, so it's not going to be like an 11 p.m. stream. I'm 90% sure it's not going to be a late night stream. I would guess sooner than later. So, once he goes on, I'm just going to shut off, even if it's pretty abrupt. We're not going to be doing any 20-minute vertebrae minutes before I shut down, because this is just holding the place. 25 years of marriage, God bless him and her. Good for them. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. My mother is talking to me. He said 27 years of marriage? I thought he said 25. I'm being told he's been married 27 years. I could have sworn he's been saying 25 years. What does the chat say? Do you guys remember how many years he's been married? 20 bird of prey minutes equals 85 years. One person saying he said 25. I was pretty sure he said 25, but I don't want to, I'd say I'm 60% sure he said 25, just because it was a round number. But whatever it is, it's enough. Certainly more than I ever got to, which is 0. His daughter is 23. Well, 23, I mean, it could still be that they're married 27 years. Not everybody has kids in the first couple of years of marriage, though 23 works out more closer. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see soon enough. Okay, bird of prey years are standard years. Your bird of prey minutes, I will grant you, sometimes get extended because of the black hole that must exist somewhere between me and wherever the internet line comes into the house. But year to year, I'm pretty sure I'm not late year to year. Minute to minute is just not precise enough. Darth said he got married in 1993. So, 25. Okay. So, yeah, a little, got a little comments and questions from friends and family who saw my my Christmas, not so much the live stream. They didn't watch 2 hours of that, but who saw my 20-something minute Christmas songs that I cut out and edited from the 2+ hour live stream and put together. And if you do go back to that video, I put a index at the, I pinned the top comment as an index. So every song is listed, so you can click right on the song and be taken directly to that point in the video if you so choose. There's, I don't know, like 13 songs or tracks, I believe, and they're all music except for one of them I did keep in the story of how the Big Apple got its name, because I thought it was hilarious and important to get out there. Just breaks up the music, it's kind of in the middle. But yeah, I got a lot of feedback from various people. There were some who loved it, and I got some good comments from them. But there were some other people, I got questions asked like, did you lose a bet? Were you drunk? Were you taking pain medication, or I guess any other type of medications? It just, it didn't seem, I seemed a bit off. They didn't understand why. I mean, they didn't even understand why somebody would do a 2-hour live stream on YouTube. So to them, I kind of had to explain that, yeah, I actually follow quite a few people who end up doing 2-hour plus live streams. I mean, there's one guy talking about Doomcock, but I didn't say his name, who does 5-hour live streams sometimes. So 2 hours, 2.5 hours, it isn't that bad. It's just, you know, it's fun. And that was the most important part. It's fun. Yeah. Didn't lose a bet. I can understand most people probably wouldn't publicize themselves so horribly singing so many songs, but I don't care. I've never cared about things like that. There's a few things that truly bother me, and my singing or public speaking has never been one of those. Maybe it should, but it's not. So let's see. Where are we in the chat? Did I fall far behind? No, I didn't. Questions about Vasi? We have questions as well, but you love her? What? Vasi? Do you mean Sassy, my dog? Vacky. Vacky. The vacuum. I get it. Okay, vacky is not a her. Okay, it is an it. There is no feelings like that whatsoever, I assure you. Josh Street says, Bird of Prey, what's your take on Anti-Tracker's animation of you singing? Oh, you mean this animation? Yeah, couple of good old boys, never meaning no harm. Just something, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law would allow. Turd is the word. Turd. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure how this song goes. That's the best I could get. I probably shouldn't have said that much. Yeah. That animation, I know it's all in good fun, and he told me about it as it was happening. Um, I was all for it. I wish I had sung the Dukes of Hazzard theme a little better, because I do know it better than that. I don't know why at the time I was having trouble remembering the words. Had it just been me singing the Dukes of Hazzard animation, I think that probably would have been better. The fact it goes from half-assed Dukes of Hazzard into turd is the word, that's a little weird. And no, I was not tripping balls or tripped out or anything like that or drugged. I naturally talk slow. I know this. My voice is slower than most people, but Anti-Tracker slowed it down considerably more, and you get that kind of like someone who's out there, who's strung out, whose brain has turned to mush because of all the drugs they've done over their lifetime or something, feel to it. But no, that's not it. I actually like it. I just maybe one day I will do the Dukes of Hazzard theme a little better, and he can get Joshua to update it, though I really don't want to ask him for it, because it's really not that big of a deal, and I don't want to waste Joshua's time on doing something he's not getting paid for or anything. So Would you watch a 5 hour, an anti-tracker 5 hour stream? Well, not all at once, probably. I do listen to like most, if not all, of Doomcock's 5 hour streams. Though usually I'll listen for a couple hours. I'll just have it on in the background. I mean, because there's never anything on the screen but his avatar, so I can just leave it on in the background and go about my business, whether it's doing work or playing a game, and just listen like I'm listening to the radio. Anti-tracker, I can listen to most of the time, but every once in a while, there's something you have to go look at the screen. So it's not quite the same, but I would listen. If he did a 5 hour stream, if he did it during the day, I'd watch as long as I could and I'd probably leave and come back to it, like I've done before on his 2 or 3 hour streams. But if it was overnight, like Doomcocks usually are, I'd watch a couple hours in the morning, probably do some work, then put it on for a couple hours later, listen to it, and finish it up at night or the next day. It's just wouldn't watch it at once, but I would still watch it. Darth says, my ancestors have a lot to do with horses for the last few hundred years. My family had horses. My cousin Boston has horses today. Oh, that's good. I mean, quite noble creatures. Really, I mean, I've been around a horse, on occasion, but never been on a horse. Not as an adult or that I could remember. Perhaps as a child, somebody put me on a pony once, but yeah, I have an issue, or had an issue. I still have an issue, but even when I could walk, I had an issue with heights, and I was probably just too heavy for most horses, so I just didn't even bother trying to get on a horse. But in an ideal world, I'd love to be able to ride a horse and just ride it through the woods or something. DJ Odyssey, hail Alberto Pray 5, hail DJ Odyssey. Good live stream today. I think I caught most of it. I know I missed some of the beginning, but you sounded good. Things are looking good. You don't have to ask him. He'll watch this and know. I'm not sure what that's about. Yes, the dancing bunny has arrived, though we don't see him dancing. DJ grew up on horses, so you can... how do you get the horse to go? Is it squeezing your legs together? Is that like the universal way to get the horse to go forward? Is it a verbal command? I'm just never been 100% sure on that. If I ever find myself on a horse, I feel like knowing how to go forward, left, and right might be important, and stopping. I figure if I just whoa, pull up on the reins or whatever, that should stop the horse. Whoa. was just rambling about this new song thing. Okay. A small little kick with the heels. Okay, so kick, like you kick back with the heels, I guess. Darth says last 500 years, recorded years, they roaded 200 years ago. 1900, they had war horses and carriage horses. Lashed Irish with horses. 1955, Americans had horses for 200 years. Consistent. I would think we had horses longer than that, but maybe we weren't. We weren't America yet. We were still colonies. DJ says you don't pull too hard or they will rear up and throw your butt. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. DJ says next stream I do, remind me and I will show you the small saddle I had as a kid. Okay. Is it a saddle made for bunnies? My family in America has had horses since 1849. Wow. Good for them. Good for them. So, I had a dream last night. And I was telling Luke I was going to talk about this on the next live stream because it kind of has something to do with France. And I've been having weird dreams my whole life. I have no idea why I had this dream last night. I had The Simpsons on, and none of the episodes remotely resemble this, but I was awake. I mean, obviously it was in the dream. I was in a police station. I knew it was like a few years from now. I was a few years older. My mother was there. I was walking just fine. She was fine. And I remember, you know, my mindset was that everything that had happened to me, being sick, being in the hospital bed for so long, that it all happened, but in this timeline, or whatever you want to call it, I recovered. Mom had moved out of the house. She had the older house we had when I was growing up. But I knew that she was living there alone now, so that there were at least 2 empty bedrooms because my sister and I had long since moved out. I knew my dad had passed away, so I knew she was there alone. And I don't know why we were in the police station, but we were leaving the police station, and I overheard we both overheard a French woman pleading with the police, and this is New York City police, mind you, but she was in a French accent, which I'm not even going to attempt to duplicate, but she's saying, please, please, sirs, you don't understand, he's gonna die if you leave him on the street tonight. And so like we're kind of listening, like what's going on here. Basically she's pleading to the police. It came across as if she was his mother, but she never actually said she was his mother. Could have been any family member, or just could have been a concerned citizen. But basically the story was this guy, he was 25 years old, so I'm going to call him like a kid, but this young adult, 25-year-old kid, um, is somehow or for some reason the rightful president or prime minister, the ruler of France, whatever their legal system, whoever the top honcho is in France. Apparently it was this 25-year-old kid, and due to something that happened in France, he's like living in exile in America, but for whatever reasons he's living on the streets, and he got into some trouble, and she's afraid that people are literally going to kill him if he doesn't get a place to go. And for those who don't know, the homeless shelters in New York City, as I would imagine in many big American cities, are notoriously violent. So like a lot of homeless people don't even stay at homeless shelters because they're just violent places with a lot of robbery, a lot of crime. If you can all avoid it, you do. So the police tell her more or less that they can't do anything. They said, listen, lady, if they're going to kill him on the street, they're going to kill him in jail twice as quickly. And like, she was just devastated. She was tearing up, and I looked at my mom and she looked at me, and I know my mom, although she said she's done with it now, that she's done doing these types of things, that once I get better, that's it. But I know my mom in the past has made a personal effort to help people who were in need like this, and the fact that you got the feeling it was a mother making an impassioned plea for her son. We went over and we asked the woman, where is he? And we told her, she told us where he was. He wasn't far from where I lived. So I said, I know where that is. We can go get him. My mom has extra bedrooms. We can take him in. And she was so happy. And then some other guy came over. He had more of an American accent. I don't know if he was the father, the husband, or just some type of political advisor or something, but he told us how to find the guy. And it was just weird. I'm like, why am I having dreams about the rightful ruler of France? And why are we rescuing them? I mean, that's a motorcycle passing, if you hear that. Sorry. So it was a weird dream, and it ended, I'm pretty sure I was in the car driving towards where I was going to pick this guy up. But the dream ended before I ever got there. So I don't know what it means. Could mean nothing. It could mean that the president of France is going to flee to the United States soon. I don't know, but I just thought I'd share that dream in case something happens. In case something happens. Josh Street asked, Bird, are you sure you didn't have some of Captain Foley's eggnog? Oh, I'm sure, Josh Street. I haven't had any alcohol, I don't believe, since I got sick, which is May 2009. Now, before that, I didn't drink a lot, but I drank. Mostly because I worked for a liquor company. But I never loved drinking. And now that I have half an excuse that it's bad for my pancreas, and like my pancreas, we still have to treat like it's on yellow alert, because once you get pancreatitis, it's never quite the same again. So anything that they say, if you avoid alcohol, it helps tremendously, because I mean, most people get pancreatitis actually get it from alcoholism. I got it because my triglycerides were high, but I'm happy to avoid alcohol if it can at all make a difference on keeping me from getting pancreatitis again. No, I was not dreaming of Luke. I was just dreaming about Luke's country. Or Mecca's edibles. No, I haven't had Captain Foley or Mecca's secret stashes of anything. Thomas says he doubts Trump would let him come here. Speaking of Trump, the Wall Fund is up to 16 point something million. It slowed down big time over the weekend. That's to be expected. A lot less, I find, on my forums, on other people's forums, even on YouTube. The number of people online on the weekends is a lot less. So I'm curious, come Monday, if the money, the GoFundMe rises, goes back up again, or if it's just reached its max user base of the maximum number of people willing to donate, and it starts reaching an asymptote, topping off at some max value. Also interesting is that people protesting the fact that people are donating to the wall have created counter, like, protest GoFundMes, one of which was called Ladders for the Trump Wall, or something to that effect. And they had raised a few, I think $100,000 or so last time I looked. And basically they say, listen, this isn't really for ladders, but it's just all money raised will go to a 501(c) charity in Texas that gives legal aid to refugees and undocumented people. But they are claiming that that's what they'll do with the money. But unlike the Trump border wall, there's nobody's real name, no physical address, no way to contact anyone except a couple of Twitter handles. And the Twitter handles aren't even real names. They're just Twitter handles. So, is it really going to go to these charities? Is it just going to get pocketed by somebody? Is it Russians, bots that made the fake ones, trying to get money from the people against it to just use it to fund their own things? I don't know. I mean, it's technically fraud to make up a fake GoFundMe, but if you're not living in the United States, it'd be very, very difficult to actually prosecute Um, and that's assuming anybody looked into it enough to follow up and see that the money didn't go to the charities like they claimed. So, yeah. Luke shows up. Qapla, everybody. Qapla, Luke. I just told my dream story. You just missed it. I told you about the story a little bit in Discord. But yeah, so the only thing I didn't tell you in Discord was some of the details. It was basically that there was this. I was in the police station with my mother. For whatever reason, I have no idea. We overheard a woman talking in French with a French accent, begging the New York City police to help take this guy off the streets because he's the rightful, I don't know if she said president or prime minister, but whatever she said, I took it to mean the rightful head of government for France. Although he was only 25 years old, he's in exile for whatever reason. And she seemed sincere. She seemed like a mother concerned for her son. And my mother, having in this dream gone through everything she went through with me, and me getting better and having healed to the point she's not living with me anymore. She had her own house with extra empty bedrooms. And frankly, Mom has always been one for hard luck cases. So I knew she was just going to offer to help this person. So we both went over to her, asked, where is he? We can help. We have extra bedrooms. And they were just so thankful. And that was more or less the dream. So, I mean, you're welcome. We helped your country in my dream. I sometimes think dreams are tests of character, to see if you would really do the right thing or not. Most of the time, I'm confident I passed the test, and I'd say I probably passed it this time. It is very, very, very rare that I fail to pass a test like this given in a dream. So on that basis, I feel that even if I was in one of these extreme situations, I'd probably do the right thing, because 9 times out of 10 or more, I do the right thing in my dreams. So, no, she wasn't speaking French. I misspoke. She was speaking with a French accent. Yeah, I wouldn't have known if she was speaking French, because I would have a hard time telling French from Italian from Spanish. Although I know French, you say oui oui, because there was a brother in my fraternity in college whose family was from France, and he'd speak to his mother in French, and oui oui mama, oui oui, and I'd make fun of him all the time for it. Oui oui mama, oui oui, yes mother. That's all. That's about my extent of French. Oui, and I know it's not spelled W-E. It's like O-U-I or something. Was she hot? Not really, because she was an older woman. Not that she was ugly, but she was old enough to have a 25-year-old son, in my guess. So I'm guessing she was like 50, which is like anti-tracker age. So don't tell him that I think that's old, but I'm 40, and I still think 40's old. But yeah, it wasn't looking at her like that. I was looking at her more like a concerned parent. Darth can tell them apart. He doesn't speak them, but they're easily different. You know, I probably could tell them apart I, now that I think about it, because I could, pick up a couple of words or just even the accent. But like if somebody was using a French accent to speak Spanish or Italian, that would throw me completely off. I wouldn't be able to tell the language. It's probably more the accent that tells me anything um, important. Um, so Luke Favark says, try to read. Well, I will try, Luke. Silvus plat aldez moi mon fils est el presidente de la Republique de Guma I or Sukis. Let me try it again. Si vos fils Silvus plat ades moi mon fins est el presidente de la República Legítima u Cesores. I will assume by those laughing and happy faces that I nailed it. Dead on balls accurate. Am I right? That's impossible to read if you don't know the sounds. Well, Luke, I gotta be honest. That sounds a lot like Spock saying, or was it Sarek, it's impossible to respond when one does not understand the question. So yeah, I agree. It is impossible to read if you don't know the sounds. And Thomas Potts says, I guess France will declare war now. Did I insult the people of France somehow? If I did, I'm okay with that. I just curious if I did. So you know what? I'm going to go put this through Google Translate, and let's see, what mess of international relations did I make? I wish the browser was working, but I don't know. I'll have to fix that again. Please help me. My son is the president of the legitimate republic. Help. I see. No, that's not what she was saying. Please help me. My son is the president of the legitimate republic. Well, President de la République Legitimate. That much I got. Son, my, help. Yeah, none of those words seem familiar. Do you use RSVP when you speak or write? Well, I say RSVP and I write RSVP, but that's all I know of it. At least Bird of Prey 5 can't start a nuclear war. like lore singing can. How could lore singing start a nuclear war? Luke says, ask Google to say the French sentence. And Luke says, RSVP is French. I kind of remember hearing something along those lines, but I don't recall how exactly it's French. Okay, let's hear Google say this.
S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils est le président de la République légitime au secours.
I'm gonna do that again.
S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils est le président de la République légitime au secours. S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils est le président de la République légitime au secours.
S'il vous plaît, aisément, mon fils est le président de la République légitime à Souza. S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils est le président de la République légitime au secours.
S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils est le président de la République légitime à Souza. One last time, and that's it.
S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils est le président de la République légitime au secours.
S'il vous plaît, aidez-moi, mon fils président de la République légitime. And I don't know those last words. I have a real mental block when it comes to foreign languages. Respond s'il vous plaît. This just means answer, please. Darth Raven says, I'm sending you a song in Irish to listen to the language. Well, I give up in that I don't want to spend 20 minutes trying to say a simple French sentence that I will literally never ever have to actually say in my life. Yes. You have to pick your battles, Luke. And that is not one I'm willing to pick. Darth, if I play this song, I'm afraid YouTube is going to, like, I know they can't demonetize me, but they could block me from, well, let's just see what it is. Let's see what it is. I'm more disturbed by the fact that these look like 14-year-old girls jumping around on the beach, Darth. I mean, I'll grant you they're in clothes and they're singing, but what is this? 2 million views they're not all girls. There are some boys. And they're blowing colored sand. Sassy, come on, girl. The Irish music will stop soon, I think. Okay, well, I think 1.5 minutes of that is enough. Yeah, I have not a clue. Thomas says he's sending something in my language. Please read. Thomas, is your language English? Because I shouldn't have an issue reading that. DJ Odyssey says nothing ever happened in Dublin that was important in 1916. Thomas Potts, hope you're doing well today. So yes, Thomas, I guess I was able to read your comment just fine. Oh, he speaks American. Well, that's even easier. Oh man, I am getting a bit of a headache. I wonder if it's from having this hat on. I don't normally wear hats indoor. That dog hates Irish. Give it a drink. What do you think of the language? How does it sound? It sounds foreign. I can understand. Oh, excuse me, guys. I've been up since literally 3:30 a.m. Eastern, so even though it's only 5:30, I'm already feeling it today. But I understand how French and Italian and Spanish are called Romance languages. Like there's a certain sexiness when people speak it, and German and English and Russian and certain others are not at all Romance languages, although English is a fractional Romance language. I gotta be honest, yeah, it sounds foreign. It does not sound, I couldn't make heads or tails of what they were saying. I could definitely have a better chance of figuring out Spanish than I could of figuring out Irish. That said, I mean, everybody I know who's from Ireland and speaks with an Irish accent has a beautiful voice. I mean, when they speak English with that Irish accent, it is phenomenal. I mean, I love it. I love to hear them talk. But those kids, I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand anything of what was going on there. Maybe had I just like listened to the music, though French gives me headaches. It might. It could just be all the foreign languages. Okay, now see, at least DJ Odyssey is giving me some Klingon. Tok Qapla so vak, baba gagu fak lak va. I have no idea if I pronounced it right, but that's the good thing about Klingon. Almost nobody knows if I pronounced it right. Who the hell's to say if I did or not? It's one of the last remaining Indo-Celtic languages. That's Darth saying that about Irish. Yeah, I can understand. Russian, Luke says, Russian is the bad people language. Yes, the evil Russians. They're back. DJ Odyssey says, here you go, bird. Tok chaka so val, bibel guvach, idvaj. Vaj. I have no idea what I said. That channel is from a load of schools. Makaho. Wa. So what? I don't know. That doesn't even look like a Klingon word at the end, to be honest. But as much as I wanted to speak Klingon, that mental block on foreign languages is quite real. I mean, I got Qapla. I know some objects like Batleth, Metleth, Stovokor, but actual. I'm usually pretty good when people say "Jésus" or whatever they say to means beam me up. I'm usually pretty good when they say that. I recognize it. And of course, takba, takbe, to be or not to be, which I think was a pretty crappy translation. I mean, what's the chances in alien language to be or not to be still has the same basic takba, T and B sounds for to be. That was kind of weird. I mean, that was just like a, come on guys, that barely changed it from English. Choi Chu, that's it. Choi Chu. And then you get beamed off the planet. Because I guess nobody scans who they're actually beaming up anymore or ever. You just assume you're beaming up the right person. Not that there are sensors that can tell one alien life sign from another. But whatever. Quite convenient that the Enterprise crew had already taken over the Klingon ship. Irish is a spoken language. When you say I'm going up the road in Irish, you say up the road I am going. I'll be honest, that doesn't seem all that different than some other languages. Luke says, well, the planet was exploding. I'm not sure they would have seen much on their sensors. That's true. I guess you gotta give them some slack. The planet was exploding. Had they waited to scan the guy, they could have all died. Yes, like Yoda. That's what I was gonna say, Darth, but I couldn't figure out how to phrase it correctly. I was gonna say, so speak like Yoda you do. But for some reason it just didn't sound right. So, not that I'm a Star Wars fan, but apparently some Star Wars fan film has been making the rounds on YouTube with Darth Vader and I don't know, Palpatine, I guess. And Palpatine just makes Vader his bitch over and over again. I watched 10 of the 15 minutes of it or so, and I got busy, so I paused it to get back to it at some point. I couldn't tell if that was like a legit Star Wars fan film or like some type of parody of a fan film. Because I can't imagine Vader being that much of a subservient beta villain to the Emperor. DJ Odyssey says, on the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. I don't know if you're saying it or singing it. Either way, I can't wait to get on the road again either, DJ. It's been a long time. Speaking of which, I know why I was messing up the Enterprise theme that day. The lyrics were wrong. Or at least they don't match what they actually say on TV. And it kept throwing me off. On the Enterprise theme on TV, it says, my dreams will come alive at last. But in the lyrics I was reading, my dreams will come alive at night. And that really makes no sense. And that was what was confusing the hell out of me. Because I was like, why would anybody care if their dreams came alive just at night? That's not very helpful. It's better than nothing. But yeah, I mean the show says, and now whatever, my dreams will come alive at last. Had I had the right lyrics, I think I could have raised the overall quality of the song by at least a point, or maybe two. Luke says, however, the Klingons should have heard Kirk's accent. Yeah, you know. But, you know, if the planet's blowing up in the background, his throat could have been injured in the fight. You don't know. Darth says, if I was doing a Star Trek show, I would have your voiceover and intercom Klingon saying something, the Empire fell, do not come home. Hall, do not come home. Hail Kalas, the true Emperor. You could record from home. If I recorded from home for a movie, the audio would have such terrible sound quality compared to what you listen to in a movie. It would never ever work. They would have to like bring back the whale probe to add incredible amounts of interference to make it at all believable that the signal they were getting would be so poor. I mean, just at the beginning of this YouTube stream, for the first 2 or 3 seconds before your ears get used to the constant background hum, it is quite loud. I guess I could shut everything in the house off and record just on battery power for, 10 minutes or something. But it would have to be like a legit part. I wouldn't do that just for a YouTube clip. Darth says, if I was doing... Oh, I just read that. DJ Odyssey, I sing it. I don't sing. Luke says, it's been a long time getting from there to here. Yeah. DJ says, at least Star Trek version is better than the Rod Stewart version. Yeah. DJ Odyssey said Rod Stewart version is slightly different. So you may have had his lyric on the version we're reading from. It's possible, but it was definitely the Enterprise, supposed to be the Enterprise version, because it was, much too short to be the Rod Stewart full version. I mean, but yeah, somebody could have copied it and shortened the Rod Stewart version without making the other changes that they made in Enterprise. Luke saw Aquaman today. It's quite enjoyable, actually. Was refreshing to watch a cool DC movie for once. That's cool. So Luke was right. They're getting their shit together. I wonder if Anti-Tracker will have the same feeling. I'm kind of surprised he's not home or live yet. Let's make sure there's nothing going on his channel. No, he's not even. He hasn't even signed into YouTube. I'd say he's not imminent. It's not going on anytime soon, if I had to guess. DJ Odyssey says Russell Watson is the singer of the Star Trek one, and it's a full version too. I play it a lot on my radio shows. I have the full version as an MP3. I do listen to it on occasion. It's not terrible, but I like the TV version. Darth asks, what do you think of the Klingon Empire split into Klingon Empire, Klingon Kingdoms, and Klingon Republic, which becomes part of the Federation? So is that two separate pieces or three separate pieces? Darth says, it's their anniversary, just keep that in mind. They might be a little busy. Yeah, I know, they might be a little busy. Although, I don't know, maybe Joshua is out or something. But my guess is then we are at least no more than 10 minutes away from them starting. One epiphany griefs about Klingon is that we rarely see it. Barely a handful of locations, some ships with small crews, a few chancellors, maybe 5 or 6 houses, that's it. Yeah, I mean, I think the most we ever saw of Kronos was that episode where Captain Picard was like counsel for Worf when Worf's father was being charged as a traitor, and he had to go track down Worf's nurse who was living in some obscure section of the capital city, and conveniently apparently within walking distance of the Great Hall, and I suppose transporters could have been involved off screen, but you know, they weren't shown. And, you know, we saw how some civilian Klingons live, I guess. But yeah, I just don't know if an all Klingon show would do well because, listen, I would watch it, but you know, I'm a super fan, okay? I mean, I go to Amazon and literally pay $25 to have a hat custom made that says make Klingons great again. You know, what percentage of the population out there does that? It's less than 1%, right? So if you go by what I like, that's not saying much. I don't know that there's enough people who could be interested in a Klingon-centric series. As much as I want them to be, I just don't know that there is. I'm happy, you know, I was very, very happy with Deep Space Nine. And, you know, as long as Klingons are involved and not involved in the Star Trek Discovery way, I'd be a very happy person. Speaking of, Captain Foley on Anti-Tracker's stream and on his own stream yesterday has been going, and he's been said it before, that the negativity has to stop and that he's tired of seeing negative rants from Anti-Tracker and people like Doomcock and Mecca and whoever else. That all they do is say negative things. I'm constantly reevaluating my positions and things like that. So I for some time, I've been worried to a point and often wonder, have I been too hard on Star Trek Discovery? Because yes, the Next Generation first season was terrible. And had the Next Generation premiered today, I can only imagine all the things that me and people like Doomcock would be saying about it. About how it's not Star Trek and all these things. Although Gene Roddenberry was alive and even part of the production. So it would be a lot hard pressed to say that, you know, it doesn't fit with his vision if he's literally the one making the approvals on things. So, but you know what? Star Trek TNG Season 1 was bad. Season 2 was an improvement, but they brought in Dr. Pulowski, and they didn't have Crusher, Beverly. They had Wesley. So yeah, they didn't have Beverly. So even though it was a marked improvement, the Pulowski switch was another peg against the season. So for me, it wasn't until season 3 that TNG really started making good episodes. And Foley says that all the Star Trek suffered with bad first seasons. But I was thinking about it, and to be honest, I disagree. TNG had a very bad first season, yes. But Deep Space Nine, honestly, it had a strong first season for me. Not as good as the later seasons, but that's only because the later seasons were excellent. I mean, even the first season we have Duet, which is arguably one of the best episodes of Deep Space Nine, arguably one of the best episodes of Star Trek out there, and that was like a third or fourth episode of the season. But even minus that, the whole first season, we're learning about so much. We're learning about the Ferengi, we're learning about the Bajorans, we're learning, there was Kai Opaka, which was the good Kai, the Kai everybody liked. There was just so much to the world we were learning. It wasn't boring. It wasn't bad. I mean, there was one bad episode in the entire series of Deep Space Nine. And that was it. So no, Deep Space Nine had a perfectly good first season. Voyager had a perfectly good first season. Not as good as it could have been, but there's no noticeable lack of quality in Voyager Season 1 verse 3 verse 5 other than the addition of 7 of 9 at some point. But, I mean, I really couldn't tell a Season 1 Voyager episode from a Season 3 Voyager episode nearly as much as I could tell a Season 1 TNG episode from a Season 3 TNG episode. So Voyager had a pretty strong start. Enterprise, for all its misgivings, I would argue one of, if not the most consistent first and second seasons. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree. But objectively, I loved the first season of Enterprise. I loved the second season of Enterprise. I liked the third season of Enterprise. And I loved the fourth season of Enterprise. There was no bad season of Enterprise. So the very fact is, there are only 2 Star Trek shows that had bad first seasons. TNG, which became one of, if not the all-time most popular Trek series, and Discovery. Okay, because TOS didn't have a bad first season. I mean, nothing TOS could have done first season was bad because it was setting the rules for everything to come. So TOS, good first season. DS9, good first season. Voyager, good first season. Enterprise, good first season. Four series with strong first seasons. TNG, bad first season. And Discovery, bad first season. And by bad, I mean awful. And by first season, I mean first season and the short tracks are somehow worse than the first season. So, sorry, Captain Foley, if you ever watch this, I have to totally disagree with you. Not all Star Treks have bad first seasons. I know you want to believe that, and maybe in your opinion they do, but no, to me they don't. And you know what? I would have been correct to criticize TNG Season 1 had it come out today. Yeah, they turned it around, and perhaps it would have been against all my beliefs, but I still hope they turn Discovery around and make it a show worth watching. You know, part of me does hope that they just cancel Discovery, cut their losses, because they've got 4 other Star Trek projects being worked on. So yeah, it wouldn't bother me in the least if they just cut Discovery, said, you know what, we messed up. There's so many other Trek projects. Let's just start over with something fresh. And I'd be okay with that. But short of that, if they could make Discovery into some type of quality uh, series, that would be almost as good. Um, Arguably, after 2 or 3 seasons, if it was still good, I'd be happier that they did that than let it die. But let's face it, we all know that just is not going to happen. Okay, the people in charge are the same people that have been in charge, more or less. They are not going to fix Discovery. The short tracks we've seen have only given us further proof they still have no idea what they're doing. Runaway was a complete and utter disaster of a short track. How anybody thought that that could even be broadcast on a streaming service or otherwise boggles the mind. Calypso, not nearly as bad, but doesn't do anything. I mean, it's a short, self-contained story that furthers no plot and seems to have zero impact on the rest of the Star Trek universe as a whole. It only opens a hell of a lot more questions than it answers. So yeah, Calypso, no good. The brightest star. The brightest star. If we knew the dates, maybe it would work better. The problem is they made no attempt to make Georgiou look even the least bit younger. So you kind of get the feeling, the only thing going by is the fact that she's a lieutenant. But I mean, is this 2 years before she's captain of the Sinjo, or 4 years, 6, 8, 12? I don't know. You should have given us a date, made it 10 plus years earlier, and okay, then maybe I could accept. Maybe I could accept everything that happened since, but I really can't. I really can't. I mean, pieces falling off of spaceships just happen to be intergalactic transmitters, a Bronze Age, pre-Bronze Age, Stone Age species. One guy happens to figure out how to fix a broken piece of a spacecraft and turn it into an intergalactic text message device. And the thing only beeps when the father's asleep, so thank goodness the father never found out about it, otherwise he would have just destroyed it on him. And then I think, well, maybe I should rewatch each Discovery episode and think and rewatch, say, each TNG episode and see, could I nitpick the two as much. But I mean, the third episode, no, the second episode of Discovery, where Michael is in the brig and all of a sudden the ship's getting attacked, half the section is blown away, but the brig is somehow reinforced with always up force fields, so she didn't get sucked into space during the attack of the ship. The force field came up in an instant to protect her. And yet, this is at least 20, 30, maybe 40 years before the events of Star Trek Generations, where Captain Kirk is sucked out into space, sucked into the Nexus. because there were the emergency force fields took far longer to turn on when the Enterprise B is struck by the Nexus than they did on the Shinzu, which is an especially old ship. And so besides that, since when did TOS era ships even have force fields around Briggs? I mean, again, Star Trek V, there was no force field. It was just a manual, it was just walls. I mean, you break through the wall, you're out. Scotty busted them out of the brig. Other people have escaped from the brig. There's no force fields on brigs, even on Constitution class vessels. And even if there was a force field, that even if it could save her life, the first and only time in all of Star Trek that you actually have to out-logic a computer system, that the computer is programmed to only let the prisoner out in case of emergency, and the computer wasn't smart enough to realize that she was going to die if they didn't release the hatch or open the window. And Michael Burnham has to be smarter than the computer to teach the computer how it was wrong and how she really should be set free. And the computer happily lets her go. And that's just the second episode. And that's just a 2-minute scene from the second episode. And I would ramble and rant about it for an hour. So no, I can't go through every episode. I'd love to go through every episode and say everything wrong with Star Trek Discovery. But it would take me 5 years. It would be my 5-year mission to finish season 1. And I'm sure I'm 20 minutes behind in chat now. Let's see. What's going on? Oh, okay. We're not too far behind. Luke Favark says oh no, I read that one about not seeing much of the Klingon Empire. DJ Odyssey says, now I got 70s porn music running through my head after Darth's comment. Yeah, that's not a great mental picture. Darth says, 3 pieces of the bigger whole, a new empire under Kalas, 10 kingdoms under the old houses, and a republic under Alexander, or Worf's grandson, who becomes a member of the Federation Council. Well, Alexander does not look like he has any future in either politics or the Empire. But no, I don't want to see a fractured Klingon Empire. And I don't think the Federation would let in a fractured empire. I think it has to be all or nothing. But that's just me. It would basically just be a civil war until one of those 3 factions won, or somebody else came in and took them all over. Darth says, I think a Star Trek show where they have deal with the Empire and Klingons and war expanding into Federation territory. We say Klingon worlds and cities and new ships. I don't know. I think Klingon Federation war is kind of played out. I hate the way Anti-Trekker says Star Wars is dead over 2 bad movies. It's not that he is easy to give up. It's not. He is too easy to give up. Yeah, I don't think any of our series is dead. I mean, they might be dead for now. Like, Discovery is worse than dead for Star Trek. But Star Trek will live on. Star Wars will live on. Whether it's this year, next year, 5 years, or 10 years, someday somebody is gonna figure out a way to make the movies and the TV shows that people want to see, because there's just too much money on the table to let these franchises wither and die. So no, they're not going to wither and die. It's just it might get worse before it gets better, but they will never. They're too big to fail. DJ Odyssey says, you worry too much, Bird. You haven't been that bad. People do what they do fit a niche. Yeah. I want a niche. My niche only gets me 150 subscribers. I want a niche with, 10,000 subscribers. I just, the looking back at my videos, the videos in the last month and a half, even, I don't know, maybe going back forever, that have by far the most views and the most interactions were the political ones about the wall. I guess people were searching for that, because that was more, I had more views of that than subscribers, and obviously the Anti-Trekker didn't promote those particularly, and people don't go to his channel for politics much. So I think I was getting outside people watching those videos, but I really don't want to be a politics channel. I don't mind doing politics every so often, but I'm not I don't want to do a politics only channel. But I'll be honest, if I was chasing the algorithm, if I was in it for the numbers, every day I'd be doing a live stream about the wall and Trump, and just talk about how terrible Democrats are, and how we have to have this wall, or we're all gonna be speaking Spanish in 10 years, and be at the mercy of Mexican drug gangs. So that seems to be where the numbers are. I know it doesn't help that I have, that I'm not the most photogenic person. I'd probably be better off if I did the videos as just my head, so that people don't have to see my actual face all the time, because I know it's not helping. But I do like being able to use my hands to help express myself, and I just can't use my hands when I've got the head image up. So yeah, so you're stuck with me. You're stuck with the face for now. See, I say that and my mom gets upset. Yes, mothers think their sons are the most handsome people in the world. Yes, yeah. I know. My mom says I'm cute. That's what Milhouse says, right? Why won't you go out with me, Lisa? My mom says I'm handsome. Uh, no, I'm many things, but photogenic is not one of them. I have a face for radio, and I have a voice for print, but you know what? I'm still gonna come on YouTube and sing Christmas songs every so often. I have hope for discovery. This is Luke. Darth. Darth says, I have hope for discovery. I will watch to the last episode because if I start a series, I watch to the end, no matter how shit. Well, I've dropped off of some episode, of some series. Like Walking Dead. I started Walking Dead, but I had to stop. I just, it was getting so repetitive and so ridiculous. I was done. When they faked Glenn's death on us under the dumpster, and then he was fine the next episode, I was done. I know he died a couple episodes later, but I was done. That was it. Stick a fork in it, whatever. Darth Raven says Rod Roddenberry is producing STD. Well then, Rod Roddenberry is now my mortal enemy. I don't know what to say. He obviously doesn't share his father's visions. Not that his visions were perfect, but I don't know. Luke says criticism is important to raise quality. If the audience isn't demanding much, creators choose the path of least resistance and do the bare minimum. Look, reality TV and mainstream media, for example. Yeah, or YouTube. You just get some idiot on YouTube with a fake background and a Klingon hat, and he thinks he can entertain people. Luke said, praise is also important to acknowledge what is pleasing and good and even great and signals creators what we love and want. DJ Odyssey, you have to see it this way too, though. The ones that have turned Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who into crap are today was those loudest voices pushing for the crap. DJ Odyssey says, now we must be told loud ones and try to get back to being good shows, not just some damn thing to beat us over the head with. Darth says, Ent was unfairly cut. I believe I would have gotten more ratings from the next season on. I do too. It could have gone 10 seasons. I think they would have cut it after 7 for tradition, but I think it could have easily gone 7 seasons. They were just under this impression of franchise, what's that word? Not withdrawal. Fatigue, franchise fatigue. And that was just BS. Enterprise Enterprise was hurt by the fact it premiered right after 9/11. Like 2 weeks after 9/11, Enterprise premiered, and it was the Star Trek that finally got back to being real exploration. That's sassy. Finally got back to being real exploration, away from the wars and the battles that dominated Deep Space Nine and the later seasons of Voyager. We finally were getting back to exploration, and all the season 1 had been written and filmed, and 9/11 happens, and overnight half the planet goes from kumbaya, because we were in the golden age of the 90s, Y2K. I mean, everything seemed to be going well for us, and all of a sudden we're putting up pictures at work about dropping nukes in Kabul and stuff. We're on a war footing, and nobody wants to see peaceful exploration on television anymore. They want war. They want those battles. They want to see the terrorists getting their asses kicked. And if we couldn't do it in Afghanistan yet, they want to see it on Star Trek. But instead, they're getting Captain Archer and his Beagle trying to make peaceful contact around the galaxy, and Vulcans not being the most helpful people. And they're like, this is bullshit. I don't want this. I want to see gunship battles, and I want to see shit being blown up. And it took 2 years, but people finally got what they wanted for season 3. But by season 3, people were finally starting to get their heads back to normal. And yeah, a lot of people liked season 3. It wasn't terrible, but just as they were starting to get back into the mentality that they could tolerate a show of exploration, it becomes a show of war and revenge. And that carried it over into season 4. But then season 4 gets strong until that very last episode, where, boom, falls to the floor like Klingon blood when the gravity plating is restored. Just blah, all over the floor. Because they decided to make it a stupid next generation holodeck episode where, quite frankly, both Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis, whatever, Riker and Troy, were too old and put on too many pounds to be playing the same character they played, I don't know, 10, 12 years prior. It wasn't at all believable. I mean, it still took me a while to figure out where this happened in the Star Trek timeline, because I'm like, what is this, post TOS? I was like, but the D was destroyed, so is this happening like right before the D was destroyed? But then no, it's Commander Riker's the incident with the Federation cloak. I was like, wait, that wasn't, I don't think that was a final season episode. That was earlier in the series. So I mean, it was even more confusing. And what a disservice. What a disservice. Josh is out. I see somebody said, see you, Josh. Anti-Tracker. Oh, Anti-Tracker, you're here. Are you ready to go live, Anti-Tracker? Anti-Tracker says, Bird of Prey, are you a supermodel? No, but you're not trying to be a supermodel. Anti-Tracker, I've come to the end of the comments. If you're still here, just give me a heads up. If you're ready to go live, I'm gonna disconnect because this has been a stream more or less waiting for you to start. Also, Anti-Tracker, we had a little disagreement earlier. Is it your 25th anniversary or your 27th anniversary? I will be going live in a few, just getting Mrs. Anti-Tracker's mic set up. Okay, cool. So I'm going to wind it down. I'm going to finish up the comments. 25th. Thank you. 25th is what I said. I hate to say it, but you know, I was right. But congrats on the 25th anniversary. I will read a few comments and then we will be signing off so that I can do my thing and then be all ready to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for Anti-Tracker's stream. Wow, there's a lot of comments. Could have gone 10 seasons. Luke says, End first season was nearly the best entry point out of all the shows, minus the intro song. Yeah, Luke, I understand. A lot of people didn't like the song. I will give you that. It is an acquired taste. But yes, Enterprise had a great first season. DJ Odyssey, well, Enterprise, I would say second season was the weakest because that Xindi story arc was kind of strung out too long. DJ Odyssey, the Xindi arc was the third season. The very last episode of the second season was Earth getting hit with the Xindi weapon, but nothing else in season 2 talked about the Xindi until the final episode, cliffhanger. So it was season 3 that was the Xindi arc. Luke said Runaway would have gotten a 3-year-old featurette for LGBTQIAA plus audience. Luke says, to me, cell phone fails down an animal water bucket in the middle of a Neolithic village. One of the farmers goes out how to fix it and enter the PIN code before doing an emergency call. Yeah, basically that type of ridiculousness of how Saru fixes technology from an alien ship that just happens to fall off while they're in orbit or something. DJ Odyssey, that's why STD has no hope of ever getting better. Anti-Tracker, if you can hear me, I will hear your stream go on when you go live. So if I haven't reached the end of the comments by the time I hear your stream, I will just cut my stream there and everybody will understand why. Don't wait for me, because you know I could be here another 20 minutes reading these comments. DJ Odyssey says, why STD has no hope of ever getting better? They have their mindset. Darther and Bird, I'm going to DM you my idea on why the big scene can make some sense. Luke says, to boldly go through shit no one experienced before. DJ Odyssey, no matter how much the Klingons fight amongst themselves, no one could just come in because that would unite the Klingons until the threat was over. You'd hope so, but you're never sure. Derek says, "Hiya there, Bird of Prey 5. Hope all is good with you." Hi, Derek. Thanks for stopping by. All is good with me. We were just here waiting for Anti-Tracker to get here, and he's here. So I will be ending shortly so that Anti-Tracker and Mrs. Anti-Tracker can go live, and they can give all the details of what they did on their 25th anniversary. And Darth was particularly interested in what happened in the bedroom today. So if he wants to talk about that first, I'm sure Darth would be happy. Yeah, give him 20 minutes to catch up on his comments. That was at 6:09. It's now 6:26. So yeah, okay. 18 minutes, 19, 17 minutes. Pretty close. No worries, I'm getting things arranged. My dog is going nuts. You don't have to do politics though. One key thing is to do it regularly. What you think, Michael? Hey. Sorry about Sassy. Sassy girl, come on, baby. Give me a few minutes, then you can bark. It's the world famous Anti-Tracker, lol. Luke tells Anti-Tracker he saw Aquaman today. Darth says, tell Mrs. Anti-Tracker I said happy anniversary. Why, Darth? You're going to be able to tell her yourself in a few minutes. DJ Odyssey says, what? I just had a head image. I thought you said a hemorrhage. A head image would be better than seeing me live. Wait. DJ Odyssey says, wish I just had a head image would be better than seeing me live. Oh, a head image like I have. Well, DJ, hit up Acid Designs in Discord. Send him a picture, maybe with your bunny suit. Maybe he'll be able to draw something for you. He was very nice. He made one for me. I don't know if he can for you, but it doesn't hurt to ask. DJ Odyssey, stop stealing my line. Derek, stop shilling Darth. DJ Odyssey, I'm the DJ. I can have the face for radio. Yeah, Negan played Gallagher and smashed his head like a watermelon. I saw that, I didn't see the scene, but I saw Dave Chappelle spoof the scene on Saturday Night Live, and it was hilarious. And yeah, Saturday Night Live has been getting worse and worse and worse for years now, but the Dave Chappelle episode, and in particular that sketch, that was pretty solid. Thomas Potts, AT streamed to start in 500 normal minutes, which is 6 Bird of Prey minutes. I see. It's going to be a thing. Okay. Derek McManus, the problem with The Walking Dead is balancing what people expect from the comics to the TV show. Well, I never read the comics, so I don't expect anything from the comics. DJ Odyssey, I never expected the TV show to be like the comics. That would be too boring. DJ McManus, it's because people know that certain characters don't make it. I don't. Luke Favar, franchise fatigue, I think, and could have gone 7 seasons if they changed the intro. Yeah, probably could have. If they just went to a more standard intro, it probably would have helped. Because like I said, it was definitely an acquired taste. And although I enjoyed it, I do understand it was a turn-off for many people. Although I think by season 4, most people had seen past it. Hey, Bird of Prey 5, nice backdrop. Thank you, Resolute Germ. This is actually the painting The Rebel Herd by Mario Bordi, I believe. Yeah, Mario Bordi, The Rebel Herd. It's a painting we had up at my family's Adirondacks house for a long, long time. Luke says, fun fact, still not seeing the end of the Afghanistan war. Yeah. Afghanistan is a lost cause. Just build a wall around their country and let them destroy themselves. Luke says the problem with Afghanistan is Islamists in the 70s, Afghani women were walking around in skirts. Yeah, they had a big regression in civil rights, women's rights. Iran did too, I believe. It's unfortunate that, and people here think that, oh, that could never happen again in this country, but you know what? It can happen. It could happen in this country. It happened in other countries around the world. They don't realize it happened. They see Afghanistan and think it's always been a shithole. They see these other countries and they think they've always been like that, but they haven't. They were much better off, to Western standards in the 70s or earlier. And yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. This way we can get ready for Anti-Tracker. We might have a few minutes. Guys, please, if you're here, like the video. It would help. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. Comment on the video, in the actual comments at some point. Just say hi, say something. It is a new channel. Any new interactions, comments, likes, they all help. They'll help get the videos out there and help bring in more people. I know most of the time I forget to say this stuff, but let me say it today. Okay, Anti-Tracker's going live now, so I am out. Qapla, everyone. I will see you on Anti-Tracker's stream. Good night.